Hi, I'm Peter Boudreau. I'm an occupational therapist at the Rehabilitation Institute of Oregon here in Portland. And today I'm going to be showing how to use a electrical STIM device on, let's say, a stroke patient to help their arm recovery. Specifically in this video, how to help the muscles that open the fingers and close the fingers. And in general, you want to have, after a stroke or let's say a brain injury, a very comprehensive rehab program covering lots of areas. If you look on the other videos on this same website where you found this, you'll see about 6 or 7 other hopefully helpful videos about helping a person with a stroke recover faster and more thoroughly. So a good stroke program plus the research shows a good stroke program plus eSTIM will maximize the recovery. The device I'm going to be using today is the Twin STIM 3, which is not very expensive and you can find it online. So our patients have found this to be helpful, and several will buy one of these. Usually insurance doesn't pay for it, but they'll buy one of these, get some instructions from the therapist, and be able to use it at home. So I'm going to walk through how to program this and show you how it all works. Before you start, a therapist should get a doctor's order to use electrical stimulation. Or if you are going to try to do this yourself, you should talk to your doctor first. If a person has a pacemaker, they should avoid using the electrical stimulation. That would be one precaution. So the Twin STIM, to turn it on, you're going to press this button. And this particular device will do both TENS pain treatment and also electrical stim. If I was going to do a TENS treatment, which I'm not today, but I would just press the M button and you can see it jumped over to the TENS treatment. I press the M and it jumps back over to the EMS, electrical muscular stimulation. Now there's 3 different, it says S, A, and D. If I wanted to stimulate, let's say, my finger extensors and my elbow extensors to get this motion, I would have it in S mode. It'd be synchronous. Or if I was just doing one muscle all by itself, I would do it in S mode. And you'll see another video on the same website where you found this, where I'm just doing that that muscle. If I had it on A mode, that would be alternating. So let's say I'm doing biceps and triceps. It would stimulate the biceps, it rests, it stimulates the triceps, it rests. The one I'm going to show today is on delay mode. In this one, it's going to be opening my hand and closing my hand in kind of this pattern, which is fairly functional. So if a person was trying to eat some grapes with their hemi arm, that might be the best mode for that. To change from one mode to another, you would press, you can see the D, I press the S button, you can see the D is flashing. If I wanted to switch it over to S mode or A mode, any of these silver buttons would move that around. But we're going to keep it on delay, the D mode. I press S again, and now this little T right here is flashing, and I want the rotation to be like an 8-second rotation. That'll work for this particular setup. So you want to move that number either with your down arrows or up arrows to 8 seconds. I press S again, and this little clock right here is flashing. And here I can set how long the first treatment session would be. And usually the first session is about 15 minutes. If things go well, you can increase that by 5 minutes, then 5 minutes more, 20 minutes, then 25, and so forth. The more stimulation, the better. The benefit of electrical stimulation is it will prevent the muscle from getting too weak from lack of use. It will help with swelling just because there's more movement, and it will help with the brain muscle nerve kind of reconnection, which is what you're looking for. I press S again, and now it's a PW is flashing, which in other words, pulse width. How long is each little electrical impulse? And we'll put it at 300 microseconds. So if I wanted it to be 290, I'd go down, but I would start at 300. Press S again, and the PR is flashing right now. And the good starting point for that is 35 pulses per second. So it's going to be 300 microseconds long, 35 pulses per second of this electrical stimulation. If it was higher, up to 40 or so, it would be a stronger impulse, but also it would wear out the muscle faster. Press S again, and the ramp is flashing right now. And for the purposes of doing this activity, 2 seconds is a good ramp up. It's how fast we're going to go from relaxed to fully extended. Press S again. It's going to have a 5-second contraction and about a 5-second relaxation, because while this muscle is contracting, the muscles that do this are going to be relaxing, and vice versa, just back and forth, back and forth. Press S again, and we're ready to go. Now, I'm going to stimulate the extensor muscles first. So I've got, and this is channel 1 here that's going to be on the extensors. And I've picked two 2-inch electrodes. And the first time I did it on myself before we started, I had it too far this way, and when it stimulated, it moved my wrist this way. So I moved it over a little bit. So there may be some experimentation you have to do to find the best spots for the electrode placement. They usually should be at least 1 inch apart. If it's too far apart, the stimulation may go down to the flexors and you get the opposite effect. So this is a pretty good distance right here for this. When you put on the electrodes, the skin should be dry and clean. You shouldn't have lotion on ahead of time. Also, just one bit of advice is if the patient has they're well hydrated, they're drinking enough water, the device will work better. If they're dehydrated, there's less fluid in the tissues to kind of conduct the electricity. So I'm going to have my arm in this position and start. Now at this point I can feel some tingling right under the electrodes, and the machine is doing that right now. Now, if I did this with my patients and I had this response, I would be pleased with that. I've got a nice wrist extension, nice finger extension, and the thumb looks great. So this looks like a good placement for the electrodes. Now, as soon as this relaxes, I'm going to stimulate the muscles that close my hand. So that looks pretty good. Now, once this screen goes from blue to green, it will go into its opening and closing routine. Right now, it's kind of trying to do both at the same time, which is not what you want. But as soon as the programming period is over, which takes about a minute or two, so it's kind of doing it right now. Okay, now the screen is green for pain management with the TENS treatment. So, thank you very much.